All right, ladies and gentlemen, so today we're going to be working more on word problems. These are going to be more of our compound word problems. So at some point, either before right now or towards the end of the video, I want you to pause it and write down, again, our key words. I'm not going to take time to read through all those because you have them previously. But let's get right into the problem here. So students in a 9th grade class measured their heights. They want us to use h in centimeters. The height of the shortest student was 155 and the height of the tallest was 190. Write an inequality to represent the heights of the students in set and interval notation. So we know then that the heights, there's a range here. We know then that the smallest is 155, the highest is 190, and that means that H is in between them, right? This is going to be a conjunction. So there's your inequality. If I put it into set notation, actually I'm going to do interval first. So interval means, right, we go from 155 to 190. It has the or equal to, so it's hard brackets. In interval notation, I'm actually just going to take this and add to it. So that means then that we're going to have our fancy brackets, all H, such that, and there's my inequality. Right? If you wanted to graph it, if that helps you to do that first, then go right ahead. Okay. Ginger's score was within 5 strokes of her average score of 52. So within 5 strokes means that you can be 5 higher and 5 lower. So if she normally has 52, to figure out what her range is going to be, I'm going to add 5. So the highest it could be was 57. And I'm going to subtract 5. The lowest it could be is 47. Okay, so this time they want us to graph and write an inequality. So if I graph it, right, on my low end I have 47, on my high end I have 57, colored in circles because those are possible scores, and her score has to be somewhere in between there. That means that when I write it as an inequality, I'm going to have 47 less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 57. If you chose to use a different variable there, of course you can do that. Okay, number 3. 8 less than a number is no more than 14 and no less than 5. Write and graph an inequality to show the solution. So here we actually have to write an inequality to solve. So I'm going to let x equal the number. So 8 less than a number, x minus 8. Is no more than 14, less than or equal to 14, and no less than 5. So I'm going to write it as a compound inequality. If you wanted to write it as 2 separate ones, so kind of do this, you could have done x minus 8 is less than or equal to 14, and you can do x minus 8 is greater than or equal to 5. You still end up getting the same answer. So here I'm going to add 8 to all 3 parts. So 13 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 22. It wants me to graph it. So on my graph, I'm going to have 13, I'm going to have 22. They both get closed circles, and we're in between. Okay, so those are some ones that are all, compound inequalities, conjunctions. All right, let's try another one. Cookies have to be in the oven between 8 and 12 minutes, and brownies have to be in the oven between 9 and 14 minutes. Write a compound inequality that represents all times t, where they are both in the oven at the same time. So if I'm between 8 and 12 here, and 9 and 14 here, right, that means that I'm in between when they're both in the oven. 9 minutes works. Right, I'm just going to write all the ones. 8 doesn't work because the brownies aren't in for 8. 9 works, 10 minutes work, 11 works, 12 works, 13 doesn't, 14 doesn't, because then the cookies aren't in the oven. So when I'm writing this, time has to be in between, right? We're going to take our lowest and our highest, 9 and 12 minutes. All right, then what does it want us to do? Just write the compound inequality. So there you go, that's it. I'm going to write it in interval notation for you though too, so just because I want to practice. So between 9 and 12. All right, a new office residential building just opened in, I don't even know where that is, and the contractor is monitoring the water use. For the most part, water is used by the office between 7 and 7. and the residential section between 12 and 9, or 3 and 12, including the endpoints times, meaning it's going to be an or equal to. Create a compound inequality written in interval notation that represents the hours that both sections are using water. So again, I'm going to kind of do this. So if I start at the end, right, 12 a.m., I'm not using it. Not using it at 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But as soon as I hit 7 a.m., now they're both using it. So 7 a.m. works, 8 a.m. works, 9 a.m. works. All right, but then the residential section stops. So all those times in between, it's just the office stuff. So not until 3 does it start again. So 3 works, 4 works, 5, 6, 7, and then the office stuff drops off. So we're going to have 2 inequalities, right? They wanted an interval notation. So I'm going from 7 to 9, and then I'm going from 3 to 7, right? And we're going to put the or symbol, right? That means or. We've seen that before a couple times. Right, graph the solution on the number line. Assume that 12 a.m. corresponds to 0, and a time such as 3 p.m. corresponds to 15, which means they're really kind of doing a military clock, a 24-hour clock. So that means this would be 6 a.m., right? This is noon. This is 6 p.m., just so we have an idea of what we're talking about. Okay, so I can go from 7 to 9. So 7 to 9 is right about here, and 12, 11, so we'll say here. And then 3 to 7, so this is noon, so 3 is going to be halfway in between, and 7 p.m. looks like that. Okay, so hopefully not too difficult. A lot of it is reading, but I'm sure that you can handle that. But any questions, you guys know, bring them to class. Have a good night.